Hey everyone, Wander here, and welcome to Örnöga. Umlauts confuse me. It's an incremental game about running around fighting enemies, gaining loot, gaining strength, and that's all I know about it, but it looks neat. So we're going to dive right in. I'm pretty sure this is just a demo as opposed to like the full game. Guess I can check Steam real quick. Yep, it is a demo. Perfect. Alright. For whatever reason, OBS ain't picking it up, and so I have to do display capture, which means I have to be careful most of the time. Don't want to alt-tab and show off my inbox and all the Steam keys I'm given. Awaken. They always watch you. You can't escape. Awaken. Cleanse these lands. Harvest the eyes. Awaken. Okay, check stats here. You can distribute stat points here. You got vitality, strength, agility, intelligence, water, or chance, wisdom, and then reset characteristics. Cost coins. So as I level up, I get extra stuff. I mean, I might as well put some points into health. Earth damage, but how do I know how much damage I do? And what kind of damage I'm doing? Spells. Okay. So I can do Fireball, Blood Flame, Fire damage, AoE damage, and steals HP. Summon Doom Dogs, Sling Rocks, AoE damage, damage resistance, throw a Poison Dagger, Poison Flask, Dodge, Water Pulse, pushes enemies back or heals. Well, it's kind of feeling like fire. Oh, but it costs magic points, which I don't have. I'm assuming these might be magic points. Wow, I gained a lot of levels from something there. I also have inventory, but I don't have much of anything. Dodge chance. Magic points. What is this currency? Coins. Oh, okay. Water damage and luck. Increases loot and coins gained. Click the yellow A to auto-distribute every level. Can buy spells here. Buy and upgrade spells with coins. Drag and drop spells to cast them. They can also be set to auto-cast by clicking the yellow A. Too many spells on auto-cast drains your magic points. Check inventory. It's your inventory tab. Some tabs pause to give you a breather. Can be toggled in the top right. Sell or equip items by dragging and dropping. Right-clicking an item will heart the item. Heart items can't be sold. Click out the stats or spells tab to resume playing. So the main problem is mostly just I don't fully know. Okay, we got a new item. We have a Frost Sword. Water base damage, water damage. Well, it's better than my wooden sword. But only marginally. So the question is, water damage gives me luck, which is a little tempting. Water would also give me a tsunami, a water pulse, or regeneration. Otherwise, I can do the dogs and blood flame. I think I'm going to stick to fire. Okay, Merc unlocked. You can hire mercenaries to fight along your side. They level up and grow stronger the more they fight. But be careful, if they die, they're gone for good and you need to hire a new one. Hire here. Costs 1,000? Okay. So I can spend money to give them lifesteal, dodge, or lightning per attack. Level them here. Drag and drop mercenaries to position them. Also, double-click their party icon to teleport to your side. Okay. Looks like it's kind of expensive to level them up, though. So wisdom gives me experience gain. Dodge crit. Okay, so my merc is still alive. For the moment. Do we find anything new? We did. Oath boots. Health. Let's see. Magic points when dodging. I mean, I might as well equip everything. Swift blade, air blade. We can just sell it. It doesn't seem particularly amazing one way or another. And yeah, I'll just level these up. Do I want to grab this as well? I might as well. We're just going to stick to my handful of fire spells for the time being. Okay, so upgrading this seems to just increase its damage. That's fine. I think this might actually be getting kind of close to a game I was hoping to see at some point. I want to play an incremental bullet heaven at some point. I think the only problem is this doesn't have, obviously, the fine-tuned build crafting of the bullet heaven. But that's okay. I'm curious what happens when my character bites it. Okay, we get a new item and some other stuff. What is this? Chaos Chain. Earth damage. Earth armor casts blood flames. Ooh. So for 5 seconds, gain damage resist. So that's something to keep in mind, that the equipment system does actually... Okay, what is this one? Toxic Flask casts Fireball times 6. Air and fire. Or just earth. Yeah, so there's some fun proc effects. I wonder if I could actually get it in such a way that I can have cyclical procking. Maybe. I'll have to keep an eye out for the equipment. Does seem like the equipment system's at least marginally interesting. I'd love to see, like, more things that you could do. Okay, right. I've leveled up. I'm still kind of in the business of mostly investing into fire and health for the time being. Though it's only 1% fire damage. Yeah. And to my knowledge, these just increase their damage. Do I want to try and get regen? Focus your stage progress. Each stage has a chest and a boss. Advance to stage 10 and defeat the final boss to collect high-level loot. Ornoga is typically an idle game, but you can also control your hero by toggling this. Oh. So you can actually run around, like, specifically and target enemies. Neat. I think I'd still largely play it idle, all things considered. Do I want to invest in... Yeah, sure. I can have, like, at least a level or two in various things. Yeah, what I'd like to be able to do is actually, like, mess with the amount of dogs that I'm summoning. Or... like, increase the number of dogs I'm summoning, or, like, reduce cooldowns of spells, because I'd like to be able to flood the screen with tons of dogs. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like I have the ability to do that, at least at the moment. Let's see. Scorch Belt. Fireball creates flames, times 4. Okay, so now we've got a synergy going on. So when I cast the Acid Flask, it fires off fireballs in every direction, which then each create a bunch of flames, which do like 4 damage to enemies that pass through. I like build crafting. It's fun. I don't know if these are going to be, like, amazingly good long-term. Now, is there anything I can do to, like, change their behavior? Because I'd love it if I could actually have these guys just follow me around. Okay. I'm just going to give him some lifesteal so he's less liable to just die on me. He seems like he has a decent amount of regen too. But even then, it wouldn't do for him to just get completely beasted. Yeah, I'm curious about stuff like wisdom or intelligence, but that's like a 5% increase in int. Which isn't the most meaningful. Yeah, I'm really curious what happens when I go down, but hey. Okay, got blood daggers. What do they do? Ooh. Okay, so different type of weapon, more HP, some fire damage, and heals HP based on how much damage I do. Which I don't know if that includes my other spells. Yeah, do I want to grab one level in heal? I think so. It's a long cast time. And I'd like to go as long as I possibly can. I throw a poison dagger, gain dodge, which is really tempting, actually. That might be something that I'd invest into, though. Yeah, magic points when dodging. Let's see, crit chance, dodge chance, damage reduction. Seems like there's some amount of interesting depth to be had here. Ah, that's how I get the crit chance. Yeah, so I'd have to respec if I really want to change things around. Did we get anything else? No. You know what? I'm going to sell those at the very least. I think I want to hold on to Earth Armor Cast Blood Flames, but I'm not really the most keen on it. Yeah, the problem is this is only a 1% fire damage increase. I feel like this game would actually really thrive with like a massive talent tree. Or even like a talent tree system? I guess I'm curious about how death works in this one. Is it one of those where if you die, you get kicked back to the very beginning, but you keep some of your stuff? Because I feel like that could open some really interesting options. Heal HP every 3 seconds. It's okay. That's the kind of thing I wish I could actually equip onto my mercs. Frankly, even to the point where I'd say it would be kind of neat if the mercs were actually just full playable characters with their own like stats that I can micromanage. I just swap between them, but they're rare and harder to come by. Maybe. I don't know. That one's always kind of a tricky question because that would split a lot of my attention between a lot of characters and be harder to balance. So I think this mercenary system is fine. Weirdly, it's actually very Diablo, like Diablo 2. Because I remember having like a companion character that would follow you around. Skill tree unlocked. Oh, here we go. Every time you level, you get a skill point. Use these points to further customize your build. And reset or reshuffle your skill tree with coins. Oh. Wait, what? Okay. HP. A lot of HP. Dodge chance. Fire damage. I have 19 skill points. Guess I'm going to go for that. So a lot of these are kind of... Oh. Never mind. Chests now give a 300 coin bonus. Instantly heal 50% of your max HP when your hero falls below 10 HP. A little bit of crit chance. Yeah, the dodge chance would be lovely. But I can't afford. Okay, we're just going to leave it like that. So you can randomly generate... Or you can tweak your skill tree. Okay, this is cool. I'm curious how many more features we have yet to unlock. Or if that's it. I'm curious what happens when you max your skill tree out. But then again, that would require like an absurd number of levels. So maybe it's not really worth it. Okay, let's go back to spells. I think I'm just going to put a bunch of points into the fireball at the moment. Yeah, I really wish instead of upgrading the damage, I'd get a choice. Because I'd love to just make it so Toxic Flask has a short cooldown. Okay. I'm going to stop using that for a little while. At least until I can get my mana somewhat under control. Yeah, I know those fireballs are actually doing a decent chunk of damage. Got Ober's Hammer. What does this do? 1% chance to cast regen. Oh, that's nice. Don't need it. That's not really my build. Okay, so that means I can go over here. Okay, 100% air damage. Okay. So this talent tree is definitely, a little chaotic. Just gonna look at it for a second. So reset plus mix skills, or just reset purchase skills. So mixing it would just give me a completely different talent tree to invest into. Interesting. I suppose I should probably invest more into my vitality. Can I actually turn both of these onto auto? It's one or the other. Okay, coins, new item. Oath boots. That's the earth damage. Kind of the same thing. It's better though. Because that's Oath Boots level 4 as opposed to level 1. We just sell all. We don't currently need those. So the higher tier items give better stats at the very least. Yeah, I'd love to see stuff like socketable gems and set bonuses too. Maybe that's something that does show up. Oh, okay. So we also have an explorer and a prospector. Oh, but they're not in the demo. Hey, do we want to get a healer? Follows hero? Sure. Magic point healing, heal speed, weaken strikes. Alright. Yeah, so I guess they're going to heal my health and possibly some of my magic? Maybe. Maybe it would be worth investing a couple points into wisdom. Because in retrospect, this is only getting me 10%. Because I'm not getting that much health. Okay. That was getting me some amount of regen. So yeah, let's just boost my experience gain up really hard. Because I think that's going to be more practical. Because this would be what? 0.5? So this would have increased my experience gain by what? 110%? Yeah, hopefully that makes a difference. It really does depend on how the boss fight goes, more than anything else. Unfortunately, because this is a, like, true blue idle game, there's not a lot for me to do. I think that sort of thing can be a little tricky from, like, a game design perspective. I totally understand why, like, people go bananas for this kind of thing, but I've been playing a lot of, like, really idle games on the side for ages, so I actually have, on my second monitor, yeah, do I want to just keep investing into wisdom for a bit? Because it seems like the higher my magic, maybe the faster my mana regen. Hard to tell. No, I think I'd kind of leave things as is. I do like the 10% chance to just spawn a chest every minute. Because I think that might be one of them. Okay, Viper Helmet. What's this one do? Dagger toss projectiles +1. Ooh. Sadly, not using it. However, I don't have a helmet on anyway. Air and fire damage. And, like, I could respec in such a way that I go for that air talent. Because I do actually have a number of air talents on this map, whereas we have barely any fire. It would be an option. It'd be nice if I could actually individually re-roll a talent. Like a specific talent as opposed to anything else. Okay, let's go back to spells. Yeah, the extra healing could be kind of nice. I did spend a lot of money boosting my fireballs. Which is maybe inadvisable. I don't know. Well, one way or another, I'll just make it as strong as I can get. I always kind of wish the spells were something that were randomly generated. No, I get why they aren't. It'd just be kind of neat if you could find, like, upgrades to spells that you could, like, slot in. But, yeah, what was I talking about with idle incremental games? I don't know, I've just been playing a lot of them on the side as kind of just, like, thing to do. Usually while I'm, like, editing videos, you know, if I want to get a little distracted. Effectively, digital fidget spinner. But as far as, like, an active idle game, it's a little trickier. We've unlocked the Night Merc. I guess I might as well save up the money. It seems worth grabbing a crew. Especially if we're going to be fighting bosses. Oh, Archer and Knight are expensive, actually. Alright. I should save my cash. Yeah, we'll have to see how well I perform here. I have some amount of healing. Makes life a little easier. I was just thinking if I go hard for experience, I might be able to unlock more features. You know, if there's more than just the talent tree that we have yet to find. It seems like that's either based on what stage I'm on or what level I'm on. Also, the higher level I am, the more talent points I can invest and whatnot. Let's see. What was I gonna say? I don't know. Slightly aimless. Talking about idle games, it's one of those where yesterday I was asked a question, what is the hardest thing about what I do, like, in terms of the work? And, you know, there were they're assuming that it was actually like the commentary that was tricky. I actually don't have too much trouble with commentary most of the time. Zneek's Boots. Let's take a look at this. Iron Fist poisons all enemies within 300. Yeah, so a lot of interesting trigger abilities. But Iron Fist, massive AoE damage. Yeah, unfortunately not really useful. But I do appreciate that all of the gear and equipment does have a proc effect associated with it. But commentary is really easy most of the time. Sometimes I can get extremely distracted with what I'm doing, and I have like 5 or 6 different things I want to commentate over. And that can be a little tricky because, you know, say I'm, you know, blah, 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 talking about idle games and, you know, my feelings on them, and then, oh, let's talk about this question about commentary since it's inextricably tied. I have trouble talking over pure idle games because what the heck do I talk about? And, you know, then every once in a while I just have to look at like, oh shoot, I've, you know, got some currency to spend on a thing. I guess I should do that. Rinse, repeat. And so, surprisingly, yeah, commentary is not the hardest part of my job by like any measure. I actually find commentary to be some of the easiest to do because, yeah, as long as I'm not being overwhelmed by something, I'm not like overly tired or if I'm overly hungry. Like, as long as I don't have some extenuating circumstance that makes me incapable of commentating comfortably, I can just keep going for hours. And so right now I'm like, I'm a little sleepy. I did not sleep much. Not last night, but the night before. I slept like a reasonable amount last night. But sleep deprivation is not one of those things that you recover from quickly. At least from my own experience. Those summons kind of suck. Unfortunately, looking at it, they only last for a handful of seconds. And as far as I know, there's no way to extend that currently. Might be something I get from gear and equipment. Anyway. But yeah, the hardest thing for me, commentary-wise, really, oddly enough, is idle games. Games where I'm literally just sitting there waiting for something to happen. Because then it's just like, okay, well, I guess I can talk about whatever, but I have to make sure I pull myself back. Otherwise, I could just, like, really sit back in my chair. Ugh. I'm just gonna do that. Sit back in my chair, close my eyes, and just kind of let my mind wander, because it doesn't really matter what's going on in the game. I haven't died yet. I don't seem to be anywhere close, and it's gonna be a little bit before the next, like, major upgrade for me, which is namely getting more gold. Or getting enough gold to unlock the next mercenary, probably. No, the hardest things for me, weirdly enough, is this weirdly enough? The hardest thing for me as a creator is actually communication. Working with other people is tricky. So specifically, the big one that usually drags me down is invoices. I do not like doing invoices at all. There's just a lot of fiddly bits, and I'm not a person who has like any kind of professional training in how to do invoicing. And so that part always slows me down a lot because I have like a template for invoices that I send out, and it's pretty reliable, but every once in a while I run into somebody that's just like, hey, your invoice failed. I'm like, okay, why? You know, I have 50 other clients that have been able to pay me. What's wrong now? And so for whatever reason, the last couple months, I've had like a number of invoices fail for some reason, and I don't know why. And so I have to like suss that out and figure out what's wrong. Oathbreaker. Does slightly more damage, but no, it's no good. Guess I could just sell it, but still. And so like, that's a pain in the ass, and not something I like dealing with. And there's like a lot of details I have to remember, addresses, payment information, you know, how much to charge exactly, what the dates were, making sure I got paid, so on and so forth. And that's always like my least favorite thing to do, even though it is very much like how I get paid. I'd actually say roughly a half to a third of my income come from sponsorships at this point, which like is a little sad. I used to make a decent chunk from ad rev, but I think YouTube's constant descent into AI has made it so that they don't actually give a shit about ad rev anymore. And so that means that my ad rev based income is not what it used to be. And that's kind of sucked. I've also been slowing down a bunch just so I can have more time to, say, do stuff like invoices or work on other projects, which is what I've been doing. But the second hardest part of my job is emails and just reading them and responding to them and, you know, figuring out which games I want to cover and what days they're coming out and so on and so forth. And that's like, you don't think about these things. Well, I mean, maybe some people do. I don't look forward to games in the traditional sense that, like, in the same way that other people would. So for me, if a game is announced, I might remember it, but usually it doesn't matter until it's like a week away. And so then it's just like, oh, hey, you know, Wander, did you know that the ball pit, or like the first big ball pit update came out yesterday? And the answer is yes, kind of. I was aware that it was coming, but I just had other projects to get to, and so it's kind of like, it's on my list, it's something I want to get to, but I have like a gazillion other games that I'm trying to get through as well. And that puts me in this kind of awkward, tricky position where I want to keep on top of games, but I'm also being given like 50 to 100 of them per day. And so it means that I'm kind of in this like weird, perpetually on the back foot thing of, oh, well, you know, I mean, here. Game's playing itself. Let's just look at my Steam library for a bit. So like Underboard comes out in a couple of days and I don't have an embargo, so I can play that. Okay, cool. Roots Devour I had a sponsorship for. Have to make sure that's all like well and prepped for. Oh, Code Vein's coming out in like a handful of days. And just, you know, I think the embargo is dropped at this point, so I could record a video for that. So when do I fit that in? Oh, Space Warlord Baby Trading Simulator. This is a real game and is actually a good one. That's coming out in a couple of days. You know, where do I fit that in my schedule? It keeps going down. Like, we have so many games. I have so many games in my library that, as much as I would love to be able to cover them in a timely fashion, and like some of these I'm playing on my own, like Gloomhaven I play with my brother and my dad. That's separate. But just trying to figure out, like, which of these games do I play and when is tricky, because I only have so many upload slots on a per daily basis. YouTube only lets me upload 3 before it stops notifying my viewers of, like, said videos. So the only way you would know about the 4th video is if you went to my videos page. Or maybe if YouTube suggested it, which it sometimes does. It's not the most reliable thing ever. Let's see, I should probably actually summon my allies. I hope he's here with me. Okay. Oh, we have enough money that I can actually recruit another person. So I should look at a couple of these things. Swift armor, magic points when dodging. That's kind of familiar. Okay, Mercs. Do we pick up the knight? Let's see. Follows hero, shoots from a distance. Slow tanky, slowly regenerates HP. Let's grab an archer. So what do they have? Projectile per shot. Oh, that's expensive though. Gold per level for each mercenary. I'm just gonna grab that because that might be a ton of money. 35 gold for each mercenary. Every time it levels up? I don't know, we'll have to figure out how that goes. So that seems probably useful. Let's see, with so many of these things. So yeah, it's kind of trying to figure out, like, when do I record and upload these videos, and for which games and what days. I'm noticing the pathing is kind of bad. My character will get stuck on those pillars really easily. Which I get it, but still. Because yeah, I guess we want to pull up my Steam library again. Here's games more sorted based on, like, actual release date, and a lot of these, this is just sorted based on the last time I touched them, either adding them to my library or playing them. But, like, Micro Civilization is a game that I've been meaning to cover for, like, months now. Months? Years? And, like, I missed the original release date, and I've missed the actual release date because I have so many other things. Blightstone's another one. Carnage. Let's see what else we have. I mean, Rig Right's coming, but, like, there are some games on this list that I sincerely want to put some time into playing, but just have not had the time to do so, either because schedule, health issues, other life events, board game nights, other projects, or other game releases. And so my problem with emails is very much just trying to figure out, like, what my schedule is down to a T. and then trying to keep track of all of this stuff all at once. And so I've switched to actually using a bullet journal. Previously, I just keep everything in my head, and the problem with that is you just can't. You know, how many release dates can you remember off the top of your head right now? Maybe a handful for the games you're really looking forward to. What if it's a game that you're only like passively interested in? And what if you're so burnt out on... I don't want to say burnt out on video games. Lucky chest. Do we get something good? Frost armor. It's not amazingly good. What if you're so desensitized to video games that very few of them actually stand out to you anymore? How many of those release dates are you going to remember after that point? I remember that there's like a Monster Train 2 DLC coming out next week that I'm looking forward to. That's about it. You know, there's a couple others, but it's like, unless the game is coming out this week or next week, I don't care what the release date is. And so trying to keep all that information, you know, in order in my head was just impossible. There was no point in remembering it anyway, because half these games would get like delays or release early or get canceled, ? Like I think the Prince of Persia remake, remaster, whatever it was called, was supposed to come out this month, the next month, something like that. Oops, that just got canceled. Means it probably wasn't ready for release, and Ubisoft, who's in severe financial problems, just said, all right, screw it, we're not gonna pay attention, or we're just not gonna bring it to completion because it's not worth our time or money, which is very classic Ubisoft and also sucks. But I mean, that's very much just a victim of kind of AAA games having to release a big blockbuster hit with their every release. And as such, pumping way too much money and time and effort into each of these games. And therefore, you know, going over budget, way over budget, in such a way that they might never be able to release these games. Well, do we want to get the knight as well? Sure. So extra attack speed, armor resistance. And I'm just gonna have a whole party, I suppose. We should probably invest in a bunch into the healer and archer. Maybe. Wouldn't be a bad idea to give the archer that second projectile. Let's see. What was I gonna say? Got a frost armor. Curious what would have happened if I had invested really hard into luck. What that would have changed, if that would have changed anything as far as gear and equipment goes. But I was gonna talk about with games burnout, keeping track of them, email addresses. Oh, I don't know. It's just one of those where it was like eventually becoming kind of madness trying to keep track of everything, especially as I switched to more of an indie impressions model. Hence why, yeah, toxic gloves might be good. MP when casting toxic flask. Well, that's nice. I'm not casting toxic flask for the damage, I'm casting it for the fireballs, which honestly kind of works out. Still wish I could reduce my cooldown reduction, change my cooldown reduction, but alas, doesn't seem to be something that I have access to normally. So I actually have 12 skill points. Are any of these good? I think I just... Do I save up? No, let's get the crit chance. Winning chest now heals HP. Let's see. Dodge chance every minute. I'm just gonna go for the 100 HP. I have some fire damage, so I should probably invest in that. But yeah, so I've switched to using a bullet journal because that makes my life easier, but that means now, rather than just reading an email and being like, oh yeah, that's a good game, I have to actually take time to find in the bullet journal like, oh, this is coming out on February 18th, that's 3 weeks from now, flip a couple pages forward, write down what it is. Then I have to add details of like what time the embargo might end or any other requirements or if it's sponsored and what I need to do for that. And so all of that just kind of slows everything down. So when I'm sorting through like 50 plus emails a day, that's an hour of work. And well, that might not seem that bad, especially if you're in a profession where you spend a lot of time communicating. I'm not actually paid for reading my emails. I actually had a, I don't want to say a heated conversation. There was a PR, like a PR company that had, their CEO had made this like very public complaint about how YouTubers never ever respond to her emails for the most part, and how rude that is. And, you know, all it takes is like an email to say, no, I'm not interested. If I had to spend even 30 seconds saying no to each of these emails, and you can't just say like no, because that would be extremely rude. And so like, you'd have to say something like, hey, game looks great, but I'm not interested. I don't have space in my schedule, whatever. You kind of have to personalize it so you're not just saying no every single time, because these PR groups will see that level of curtness as rude. And so as part of that, you have to be kind of careful about what you say. And so it's usually easier to just say nothing, because holy shit, I'm getting 50 emails a day or more. And these are like authentic, like, well, okay, they're not authentic. Many of them are just kind of like template-based emails of like, hey, do you want to cover our game? And they send that out to like 50, 100 YouTubers. I know, because some of these companies and developers just get the bright idea of CCing literally all of us simultaneously so that I can see all of their names. I have been emailed alongside Retromation, I'd say about, I don't know, it's like 25 times in the last year where we're just both in the same email chain. That's not that much, but it is enough to know who else these developers are reaching out to primarily. Even if some of them don't make sense. Like I remember once looking at like all the email addresses just to see who I'd recognize. I recognize a lot of them because I've been around for a while. I've met a lot of YouTubers. Or at least like had casual acquaintanceships with them, or just am vaguely aware of their existence. But like one of them was like, I think it was that like Ryan's Toys channel or whatever, like the kid that reviews toys, who's probably not a kid anymore. He's probably a teenager, which I don't know what that business model even looks like once the kid ages up that hard. I guess maybe his audience grew with him and now he's reviewing teenage toys, question mark. Feels like after a certain point you graduate to video games or magic cards and there's like no other way around it. Anyway. But yeah, I don't know, it's always kind of funny when I see developers reaching out to somebody that like absolutely would never cover their game. And I get that often. You know, I've had people reach out to me for crazy products that make zero sense, like a leaf blower or a guitar. And some of those are scammers. I'm not interested in sorting through which are and which aren't. The weird one for me was I actually had a cousin who was working at like one of those like high-end standing desk companies, but for like not gamers, but like more medical professional side of things. And he was like, hey, do you want to do a promo of like the desks that, you know, my company creates? And I was just like, no. I live in a small apartment. I already have a standing desk from IKEA, and two, no one who watches me is going to care about that. What is this? Toxic Flask cast Dagger Toss. Blood Flames cast Dagger Toss. Oh. Okay, let's switch some things around, because this is not doing me any good. So let's just do Blood Flames and toss a boatload of daggers. Which now makes me feel dumb, because I sold the one item that made it so Dagger Toss would have tossed 2 daggers. Hopefully we get that back, because that's a build right there. It seems like we're going for kind of a hard air fire build. So in that case, we might actually want to save her for the 18 skill points for 100% air damage, though. I don't know. That might be a good trade-off. Hard to say. I mean, currently, my air damage is actually, like, my best damage. So in that case, maybe I should just grab this. Swift Feet gives me dodge. I don't think we're using that much. Oh, right, I should probably invest hard into Dagger Toss damage, considering, you know, casting half of my spells just chucks daggers. Because, yeah, it is Toxic Flask and Blood Flame. So Toxic Flask is both casting Fireball and Dagger Toss. So sure, why not? But yeah, so for all of these things, it's just tricky keeping on top of all of those emails. And so, geez, I want to say it was like 2 or 3 years ago, I was actually starting to have like breakdowns, largely because I was trying to keep all this information in my head or respond to developers or whatever. And unfortunately, I think I'm turning callous, and at this point, I'm just kind of like, I don't know, I cover what I cover when I cover. I cover what I cover when I feel like covering it, as opposed to like trying to, you know, have launch day coverage for every single game, be super organized, because I don't have the bandwidth for that. There are other, probably more professional YouTubers that can keep up with that kind of schedule, but like, I don't know. I'd rather just be the guy that plays the game that is cool, that most people probably haven't heard of, either haven't heard of or haven't heard of yet. Let's see, Aqua Chest Plate. I don't think we care deeply about that. Regeneration Cast Tsunami. Yeah, like, it seems like there's some really good setups and combos. I'm noticing that a lot of items aren't actually that randomly generated, which is fine. I don't think it needs to be. Okay, can I actually get the next... Can I get the mage? Mage is not in the demo. Okay. So... I'm gonna keep leveling this. I have no idea if it's a good idea, but if the archer potentially can really crank up how much money I make, it might be worth it. And so, yeah, I've zenned out on a lot of things. I think mostly just because it's one of those where, like, previously I was like super try hard, you know, workaholic. Kick my ass into gear every day, wake up at 9 a.m., stop working at 9 p.m. kind of thing, which is really bad. But like, I mean, it did get me to 500,000 subs, so it's not like the most insane thing, apart from just like, I did miss out on some opportunities. I lived in Kansas and barely went outside. Which, I don't know, Kansas is okay. I'm sure there's actually a lot of good things to do in Kansas, but where I lived was, road heaven. I was watching a Not Just Bikes video, or, yeah, I think it was Not Just Bikes. I was watching one of his videos, and he started trash talking the street I lived on, and I thought it was extremely funny, because I fully agreed with him. That area was actually pretty, like, as far as stroads go, it was nice looking, but it was like a 7-lane stroad, just awful to cross. And while my wife and I had a car, we would actually walk a lot because we lived across the street from Whole Foods and a Chinese restaurant and a Target and a movie theater and a bunch of other things. It was kind of easy to walk over there and pick up whatever we needed. But it wasn't fun crossing when all that traffic was going. You know, honestly, it actually wasn't that bad. Most people were very good at letting you cross. And so I don't think we really ever had to worry about people daredeviling around us, you know, running the red or anything like that. It's actually been worse here. It's only a 5-lane where I live, but it's kind of near a fast food joint, and people come screaming out of it. Like, so when we're crossing, for whatever reason, they have their left turn as well. And so it's not uncommon that usually it's an old person, comes screaming out of this fast food joint, taking a left through the crosswalk I'm at, almost hitting me. I've been a foot or two from getting hit on multiple occasions from this, and it's infuriating. Anyway, where the hell was I going with this one? I've gone down a rabbit hole, and now I have to dig myself back out again, talking about roads and streets and, being a workaholic. Not taking a whole lot of opportunities living in Kansas. It just was like a multi-hour drive to get anywhere interesting, which is why I generally didn't go anywhere interesting. Went out for a lot of, like, fun restaurants in Kansas. They had good food there. That was about it. We'd gone to downtown Kansas once, and the same night somebody, like, got shot and died, like, 2 blocks away from where we had been hanging out. And so I was like, maybe not. Anyway. And, like, obviously the chances of that are low. Usually those shootings and murders are people who know each other as opposed to, like, random strangers. But even then, definitely made me just want to be a homebody, which I like being a homebody. We got like a 1.5 foot of snow a couple days ago, and I've not stepped foot outside since, and it's nice. Though I do actually like going on walks. I don't like driving, I think is the big one. Anyway, for the whole like workaholic thing, like I was working my ass off, I was super organized, I was keeping on track of everything, I had videos scheduled for like days or weeks, and then, yeah, burnout hit really bad, and I was just like, alright, I just can't do this anymore, I can't, you know, I can't be this on top of my work because I'm not leaving any room for me. And also it's getting less rewarding. Because one of the other things that I have, ooh, Iron Fist. Oh, that's just Iron Fist poisons all enemies. I mean, at this point, sure. I'll put a point into Iron Fist just because that's a fun sound effect at the very least. But I have so much MP that we actually can kind of just cast all of these things freely. Go back to mercenaries. I'm just going to keep pumping points into this. It goes up to level 100, which seems insane to me. What was I going to say about any of these things? Burnout, zenning out, relaxing more. Right. The other reason why I hate looking at my emails nowadays is I actually really do not like half the games being sent my way. As you get bigger as a YouTuber, you get more and more people reaching out to you, which is good because at this point I do not have to worry about buying most of the games I cover. You know, Code Vein was sent to me. Cool. If I was more greedy, I probably could have actually gotten access to even more like big AAA games like the Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD versions, but I didn't accept those keys because I was like, I probably am not going to cover this anytime soon, and I feel guilty accepting a key for a game that I might not do a video on for like 3 years, which has been the case because I have Dragon Quest 3 HD sitting on my computer that I accepted a key for and haven't covered, and I feel bad about that. But then again, I've covered so many Square Enix games that maybe I shouldn't feel bad. Anyway. But so like, I get a lot of junk. I get a lot of like student projects. I get a lot of sob stories. I had somebody who's like, I made this game for my dead son. And then like, I looked at their social media feed and I'm like, that's bullshit. You don't have a son and you never did. Because the guy was like very clearly a college student and was bragging about like just graduating high school. And I was like, don't lie to me. But the problem is, like, more of these people lie than tell the truth, to the point where, like, when somebody does tell the truth, I'm just so desensitized to it. And also, I'm just, like, overwhelmed because, yeah, have so many games from so many developers who, you know, lost their job in the industry and decided to make a game to kind of in the meantime / like, to go independent and maybe create a career as, like, an independent games developer. And it's like, okay, that's cool, but oh gosh, do you know how many developers share that same story with you? Like, that was the story of most indie studios back in the early 2010s. And that has not changed since, not meaningfully so anyway. And so, like, it's made me slightly jaded and callous, but then also a lot of these games are just kind of, hey, it's Vampire Survivors again, but with less content and worse visuals. And worse design because Vampire Survivors was like actually an inventive and inspired product as opposed to somebody who just wants to make Vampire Survivors to make Vampire Survivors money. I'm not against clones. You can have a good clone out there. Easy example is Death Must Die is like one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Bullet Heaven. I'd have to examine that. I really like that game. And the next update makes it look like it's going to be extremely good, unless that update already came out, at which point, I don't know. Easy to miss these things. Because unless I get an email, I don't actually know when a game updates. Steam does not do a very good job of telling you. It's like, hey, this big, like, landmark update for this game you're looking for came out. You might hear about it, like, 2 weeks later. Areas unlocked. I knew there was going to be something. Here you can travel to new areas and discover new loot. Boss areas unlock when you reach stage 10. In its home area, defeating a boss unlocks high-level loot and lots of coins. Okay, boss 1, stage 10, recommended level 60. Recommended level 50. Not in demo. I'm level 40, so I think we're just going to stay right here. Let's see. What was I talking about? I don't know, just games being kind of painfully generic. Not to say, oh right, I was talking about Steam not informing me when games come out. It's a problem. It's not like a huge persistent one, but it's enough to be annoying. Let's see. Let's take a look at my skill tree. I've got 7 skill points. So the fire damage would be good, but we might actually want to save up for the 100% air damage. Now, I could reset my whole skill tree. Yeah, actually, let's do that. Nope, I don't want to reset mixed skills. I just want to reset. We are going to get less chests this way, and I want to save up for that, but at least now my air daggers do a... Oh, no, we can't afford it. My air daggers do a stupid amount of damage. So does that mean that these guys aren't getting meaningfully stronger? We're just cycling here for forever. No, it says stage 8, so it does change. So old helmets, boots. Yeah, regeneration costs cast tsunami, swift armor, air damage, magic points when dodging. But the toxic armor is just like noticeably stronger and better. Okay. But yeah, I wish Steam was better at telling me when the games got like a big update. It'd be nice if it like showed up on the library or like a banner somewhere like, hey, let me sort games based on their most recent updates. But I guess I feel like developers would probably cheese that in some way. There's like the Steam news page, which is actually very good at this sort of thing, but it's out of the way and hard to check and annoying to sort through. Because I really wish I could filter out small updates so I could only see like the big ones, because I don't want to know that like somebody did a bug fix. That means nothing to me. Anyway, the other reason why I hate checking my emails is because I do not cover games that use AI. It is a hard 0 requirement, or like hard no limitation. I just have no interest in it. I think the technology is abhorrent. It stole from me, it stole from my wife, it stole from a lot of my friends. It doesn't really serve any benefit, rots people's brains. Very much a tool of fascists more than actual creative people, and has been proven to like actually cause people's skills and abilities to degrade and their workflow to slow down. It literally adds nothing apart from letting you, cut, say, a creative person out of a workflow process, which is what a lot of big businesses want to do by just firing people and leaning on AI, which is probably not going to work out for them, but still, it's not something I want to deal with, and I don't want to like relitigate or argue about the merits of it. If you like it, go away. I don't want to talk to you. Anyway, I don't cover games that use AI for all of those reasons, and probably a lot more, and so I get a lot of developers that are emailing me about their games that use AI and lie about it, use AI and try and have a sob story about it, use AI and just don't say anything. They're not even lying that they're not using it. They just pretend it's not there, even though it's like super obviously AI generated bits. And it's exhausting because I don't like having to vet all of these games. There's no way that I can just hit a filter. Originally Steam had disclosure requirements, but they never enforced them. Not really, and so a lot of developers just use that as free permission to just pretend they're not using AI or lie about it directly to my face or any number of things, which is kind of annoying. I mean, it's annoying. It's one of those where it's like, it makes my job infinitely harder because now I have to like look at every game with a unhealthy degree of trust that I can't, or distrust that I can't just like look at a game and be like, oh yeah, that's fine. Oh, that looks neat. Because there's a very real possibility that no, actually it's not. It's got something I cannot cover in it. And it's like having a peanut allergy at a restaurant that is not interested in putting allergy warnings on any of its products. Like, if you've got that peanut allergy, you're not going to eat at a restaurant or, just eat a random thing that has no, like, has no disclaimer on it or disclosures of like what's in it, because there's a very real possibility whatever's in this thing you're looking at may kill you dead. Or at least make your life suck for a day or two. It depends on, you know, how bad your allergies are. But yeah, so for me, it's a pain in the ass having to suss this stuff out and effectively play Among Us with my job constantly. And a lot of developers have actually gotten a lot better about it. You know, developers that, you know, are super vocal about it or very clearly aren't going for a style. Huh, why is everything just taking damage? Oh, that's the poison from the Iron Fist. Wow, that's a huge radius. I like that. Let's see. What was I going to say about any of these things? I don't know. I'm just hoping eventually we get proper disclosure laws so that I don't have to worry about it. Unfortunately, the US government is like all in on AI, so I'm going to have to wait a couple years before that happens. But like I said, a lot of developers are better about these things. But the other thing is it's very much pushing me to try and start working on my own projects that have no reliance on other people's work, namely tabletop RPGs, which will show up at some point. But having some kind of side project channel gig thing where I don't have to worry about dodging landmines left and right will be nice. Anyway, those are the reasons why those are the hardest things that I have to do in my job. Which has something to do with idle games being hard to commentate over. Really, I just needed something to talk about for a while, and I figured I'd talk about this one since it was relevant. Because, yeah, it's very much just communicating with people and then dealing with my goddamn emails. Which I guess is still communicating with people. It's just more structured and demanding. Because, yeah, if I don't read my email for even, like, 2 days, like, Gmail only shows you your top 100 emails. So if you don't read your emails for, like, a week, that's 350 emails right there. Like, whatever emails that you might have wanted to see in that 350 emails, that's like 3 or 4 pages back now. Good luck finding them. And, you know, it's not like you can put a pause on those either. They just keep coming. It's like laundry, man. If laundry or doing the dishes, if you don't do the dishes, your kitchen's gonna look very bad. And that's what my inbox looks like every morning when I wake up. Except for I didn't make those dishes. People are just handing them to me. Anywho, it's a nice little idle game. I wish it was a little faster, I think is the main one, but I also recognize that this is like a full-on bona fide idle game. This is not like your standard Buster-style short play incremental. This is something you're supposed to leave on the side monitor and let your character just do their thing for hours on end while you know, occasionally tune in to pay attention. I like that, actually. I think it's a fine system. I think it's charming. I like the proc effects on the gear and equipment. I'd love to see it go deeper and farther is the one thing. What I crave in these games is it would never happen because it would probably be too much work, but I would love to see one of these games have the depth and breadth of Path of Exile. I think that would be so cool. You know, the slotting gems in, random proc effects, prefixes, affixes, a massive talent tree, all that jazz. But honestly, what it is fine. And I look forward to poking around with it some more at some point. For now, at least, I guess I might as well say that the Ornoga Idle and Loot demo is available on Steam, so if you want to play it yourselves, just follow the link in the description below, take you here, and you can try it yourselves. Get a little further, because yeah, I haven't even gone to Area 2, let alone the boss zone, but not that I'm ready for it. And it looks like there may only be 3 zones, maybe there's more, we will see. But as far as like little idle games to just have running on the side monitor, it's pretty good. Anyway, all that said, if you like this video in any way, shape, or form, leave me a like, it helps more than you know. Did I already do my outro? I don't know, anyway. And subscribe if you want to see more rad new indie games, because it's got tons to check out and show off. But with that, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time.